Greetings, everyone. I wanted to come to you today and encourage your heart as we walk this life of faith in Jesus in a current culture and context in which things are messy and things are difficult. We want things to be straightforward in our lives. We want things to be black and white. We want things to be neat and tidy. But the reality is that that's not the case. And as we have chosen to follow Jesus, to be the people that he's called us to be, to live with his presence within us, things are often less than straightforward. And so I just want to talk to you a few minutes about that. Jesus calls us to be radical in the way that we think, in the way that we live our lives, in the heart that we have for people. And that makes it messy and difficult. He tells us to take the 2x4 out of our own eye before we worry about the evil and the sin in someone else's, because it's quickly can become something where we're judging sin and we're judging one person's sin over our own, and Jesus says to worry about yourself. Worry about the 2x4 in your eye before you worry about the sin in someone else's life. He says outrageous things, doesn't he? Love your enemy. Pray for those who persecute you. Turn the other cheek. These are things that are straightforward in what he says, but are a little bit harder and more difficult to live out where we are. But that's what he calls us to. And those are the things that I think make our faith in Jesus a radical faith. Because Jesus doesn't come to us at the beginning and say, hey, try these things out. He doesn't say, hey, do your best. He says, follow me. And the encouragement is that his presence lives within us. His Spirit is leading us and guiding us in wisdom and in love and in faithfulness. And so as these things appear to be difficult, appear to be different than what the world tells us and what sometimes we feel within our flesh, the reality is that he can soften our hearts, that his presence dwells in us, that he loves us and he desires for us to experience this life that he lived out, the example that Jesus lived out, the ultimate forgiveness of others, so that we can live in an abundant life, live in an abundant faith, live with abundant love, live with abundant peace and joy. And that is the hope that we have, friends. Family, I love what we're walking through. I love that we're continuing to be encouraged to walk into learning about ourselves and learning what the gospel calls us to, learning that Jesus reconciled us so that we can live a life of reconciliation of this human race. Did you guys see that fly that just went across? That was crazy. But I'm not going to stop. Jesus calls us to himself. And in that, we are called to love others. Let's continue to walk this messy, gray, less black and white life together. Let's walk this life in the presence of Jesus to love and to reconcile the human race. And I pray that as you wrestle with it this week, that you choose to focus on not yourself in loving yourself, but in wrestling and digging deeper of the things that are in you that are causing you to remain prideful, maybe, to stay comfortable, possibly. And let's continue to war against those things as we radically choose to love Jesus and to love others. I love you guys. I'm so excited how we continue to love each other well as we love those outside of our family of faith well. And I'm excited for what God is going to continue to do because I trust in his faithfulness and what he does in the transformation of our lives, and I pray the transformation of our faith community. I love you guys so much. We will see you soon.